In a quiet village nestled between rolling hills and dense forests lived a man named Yusuf. To the villagers, he was an enigma, a solitary figure who kept to himself, rarely speaking unless necessary. He wore simple clothes, walked barefoot most days, and spent hours sitting by the riverbank or wandering into the woods. His demeanor was calm, almost otherworldly, but his reserved nature made people uneasy. Rumors swirled about Yusuf. Some whispered that he had abandoned his family years ago. Others claimed he squandered his inheritance on frivolous pursuits before retreating from society. A few even accused him of being involved in dark practices, pointing to his frequent disappearances at night as evidence. No one knew much about him, and what little they did know seemed suspicious. Despite their harsh judgments, Yusuf never defended himself. When confronted, he simply smiled, a serene, knowing smile that only deepened the villagers' mistrust. They labeled him strange, selfish, and perhaps even dangerous. Few dared approach him, and those who did often left feeling unsettled by his quiet wisdom and piercing gaze. Yet, unbeknownst to anyone, Yusuf was beloved by God. Every morning before dawn, Yusuf rose to pray. He would stand for hours under the stars, pouring out his heart in gratitude and supplication. His prayers were not just for himself, but for everyone around him. The sick, the grieving, the lost souls searching for meaning. Afterward, he began his daily routine, visiting the poor and needy, tending to their needs without fanfare. If a widow struggled to repair her roof, Yusuf arrived quietly at dusk with tools in hand, fixing it while she slept so she wouldn't feel indebted. If a farmer's crops failed due to drought, Yusuf secretly watered them overnight using buckets carried from the river. He paid debts for struggling families, leaving small pouches of coins tied to their door handles, unsigned and untraceable. Yusuf also cared for animals and nature. He nursed injured birds back to health, planted trees where none grew, and cleaned up trash along the riverbanks. These acts went unnoticed because he performed them in solitude, far from prying eyes. To the villagers, he appeared idle, aimless, a burden on the community rather than a contributor. But to God, Yusuf was a treasure beyond measure. One cold winter evening, Yusuf passed away quietly in his modest home. There were no witnesses, only the flickering light of a single candle beside his bed when neighbors discovered him the next day. News of his death spread quickly through the village, met with mixed reactions. Some shrugged indifferently, saying, "Good riddance." Others muttered curses, convinced he had died alone because he deserved loneliness. The local imam hesitated over whether to bury Yusuf in the village cemetery. After all, how could someone so reclusive and misunderstood deserve such honor? Yet, out of duty, he decided to proceed with a simple burial, expecting only a handful of attendees. On the day of Yusuf's funeral, something extraordinary happened. As the imam stood over the grave to recite final prayers, a radiant light filled the sky, a golden glow that seemed to emanate from the heavens themselves. Birds gathered overhead, chirping melodiously, and a gentle breeze carried the scent of blooming flowers despite the barren winter landscape. Then came the voices, not human voices, but whispers of angels praising Yusuf's name. Startled, the villagers listened as the imam recounted a vision he had received during the prayer. God himself welcoming Yusuf into paradise with open arms, calling him, "My beloved servant." Word spread like wildfire. People began piecing together fragments of Yusuf's life they had overlooked. The widow whose roof mysteriously repaired itself, the farmer whose fields miraculously flourished, the countless lives touched by anonymous kindness. Each story pointed back to Yusuf, revealing the truth behind his quiet existence. Tears flowed freely as guilt overwhelmed the villagers. How could they have misjudged him so cruelly? How could they have failed to see the goodness hidden beneath his silence? Yusuf's grave became a place of pilgrimage. Villagers visited regularly, seeking forgiveness for their harsh words and asking for blessings. They learned humility from his example, that true greatness lies not in recognition, but in selfless service to others and devotion to God. Though Yusuf had been misunderstood in life, his legacy endured as a reminder of divine love and mercy. For God sees what humans cannot. He knows the depths of our hearts and rewards those who strive sincerely, even if the world turns its back. As the Quran says, "Indeed, Allah loves those who are good to others." Quran 3:134. And so, Yusuf's story serves as a timeless lesson. We may never understand why some people live humbly or face hardship, but we must trust that God's plan is perfect, and that His beloved ones shine brightest in eternity.